up, YouTube? It's leg day. It's Sunday for me. Happy whatever day it is for you. I'm having my pre-workout in the car and I'm getting myself ready, mentally prepared for this. But today I'm gonna share with you 4 exercises and random but helpful tips to help you get the most out of your leg day. And if you know me, every leg day is glute focused. So come along, let me know what's helpful, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Do you ever wonder where your foot position should be on, let's say a Smith machine squat? Because depending on where you place your feet is gonna put either more emphasis on the quads or more emphasis on like your glute and hamstring. So watch this. If I have my feet really far forward, then look how upright I am. This way, I'm gonna work way more on my quads. And try it out, you'll even feel it. So my spine stays super upright, and all of that strength I'm gonna feel in my quads. It doesn't mean you're not getting your glutes and hamstring, it's just not as much. Or I can have my feet right underneath me, and then watch, I start to break and they can sit a lot further by sitting my hips back and my torso is way further forward, like my ribs are into my thighs, and that gives me leverage to use more of my glutes. So the further back your feet are, the more hip hinge you get, the more you'll feel the glute hamstring connection. Then finally, the difference between like a Smith machine and your barbell squat is this is a straight Smith machine. It only goes up and down. But if I'm using a barbell, I get more of like a functional squat. It can sit back with me and it can come forward with me as I rise. So I'll show you what that looks like now. Now watch the bar pack when I do a barbell squat. It can sit back with me and then come through standing with me as well. Gonna do my working sets on this pendulum squat today. And a reason you might use a machine like this, really any other squat machine, also the Smith machine, is that it's gonna help with your stability. Because it's in control of the machine, it's not like a loose barbell per se, you're not gonna have to stabilize as much. So your core and your outer glute region, your entire torso, it doesn't have to stabilize as much, so you can put more emphasis on the working legs, whether you're focused on glute ham or quad. But if you do want to work on some of those stability muscles, your core, your glute med, your glute min, etc., then you're gonna want to use the barbell. Both are good for different reasons. The reason I'm doing this today is because my left side low back has been a little bit achy, and this is going to help me not have to use that as much. Just focus on my leg. I'm going to talk about a great way to progress your sets. So I'm looking at what I did last week. Let's say I hit 185, which I have on the bar, for 8 reps. I'm gonna try to beat it. So I'm gonna do it for my first set, and now I'm gonna try to get 1 or 2 more. And that's, of course, progressing from last week, doing the split stance hip thrust. Another tip, if you're doing a split stance or a single leg exercise, I always rest 30 to 60 seconds between sides because we care about quality sets, so my muscle cells can recover and I can do just as good on the other side. This is a a specific tip just for this machine, which is called the back extension machine. This is a way to make it focused on the glutes. You can really get a lot of upper glute with this. And commonly when taught to get the glutes, you'll hear people say to stay rounded in the torso, to stay rounded in the thoracic spine, which isn't wrong, but I'm gonna show you a way to get a greater range of motion out of it and get more into hip extension so that you can get the glutes to just a greater extent, work more muscle fibers. And one way that helps my clients to picture this is by saying, think of doing like a cat-cow in yoga, because it really helps you get the right pelvic position. I'll show you what I mean. I want to do it with a weight. So at the bottom, I think of a cowbell. I'm flaring out, I'm extending through my thoracic spine, and I'm going as low as I can. So my tailbone's in the air as if I'm doing like a down dog. Then think cat when you come up, round under, tuck and hip thrust into the machine. My rib points are rounding towards my hip bones, and my hip bones are curling up towards my rib point. My core is short, and I'm squeezing my butt. Inhale, think cow belly, round out. Exhale, squeeze your butt to initiate the movement. Think cat. Dead stop to feel. I'm gonna show you guys how to do the Glute Med Hip Thrust and some cues to do it right, because a lot of people have a hard time with this one because it is a bit of a complicated movement. So the standing leg and the moving leg actually both do the work in this one, and I stand close to the wall in a deep hip hinge. So my knee stays relatively over my heel, but my hips are hinging way back and my torso is leaning forward. When I hold the weight, it will go in my outside leg that's bent back like this. So my knees are next to each other and my knees bent to 90 degrees. The important thing is the shift. So you actually are gonna move the standing leg like you're popping your hip out to the left. Then you come through, square the hips off, and follow through by doing a fire hydrant with the outside leg. Come back down and restart. Shift left, square off, open right. So sometimes I'll see people just not do the shift, or they'll grab a weight that's too heavy and they'll end up doing this like whole leaning action towards the wall. You want this part of your body, your torso, to stay pretty sturdy. So with the weight, I hold it on my outside thigh. I stand holding the wall, upright, shift left, come center, push the weight out right. And I feel like I actually need to do a lighter weight to show you guys how to do this correctly. That was an ego lift. Let's try again. Recap what we went over. First, we talked about different squat mechanics. So I showed you different footing on this Smith machine with the feet more forward. You emphasize quads with the feet more in line with your body so you can get a deep hip hinge. You get more glute and hamstring. Being in a machine, Smith machine, pendulum squat, etc., it helps you balance. So it helps you with those stability muscles like the core, glute med, and glute med. So if you just want to focus on dominating with your quads, glutes, and hamstrings and not worrying about the stability, choose a machine. It's really good for hypertrophy, growing those muscles in the leg. If you want a functional movement, the bar moves with you. You do want to work those stability muscles, then you can do a barbell squat. A lot of that is up to choice. What do you prefer? What do you want to progress? Then what did we do next? Then we came over to the split stance hip thrust, and I showed you guys that how to progress properly. So I chose a weight last week that I did for a certain amount of reps, and I beat it by 2 reps. so I've already progressed. And then the second 2 sets you can choose to also progress, or you can stay the same, just see how much you have left in the tank. But on all 3 sets, I'm still pushing to failure. Another tip we went over is with the split stance or single leg, rest 30 to 60 seconds between sides. It's gonna help you a lot. Then we did the glute emphasis back extension machine. I showed you how to get more range of motion out of it by kind of doing a cow-cat movement and using that pelvis. Then finally, we did the standing hip abduction, or what's also known as the Glute Med Hip Thrust. And we just went over mechanics, how to shift your weight to one side, come through center, and push the moving leg out into a fire height. So the whole workout took me 50 minutes. And that is a solid workout where I progressed. I didn't overdo it, so it allows for optimal recovery so that I can hit glutes 3 times a week. I like to do. So if this was helpful, let me know in the comments, subscribe to my channel, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.